Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining our webinar, Overcoming the Top 3 Business Growth Objectives with NetSuite. My name is Steve May. I'm a Vice President at Terillium, and I run our NetSuite consulting practice, and I'll be your host today. Before we get started, I just want to review how you can participate in today's web event. Clicking the arrows on your GoToWebinar Grab tab will open and close your control panel. During the presentation, you have the ability to send questions to our webinar staff through the questions pane. Just type your question in and click send. At the end of the webinar today, we'll have a Q&A session to answer any questions that you submit. I'm happy to be joined by another Steve today, Steve Mochin, who will be showing a live demonstration of the NetSuite solution shortly. We have a great agenda planned for you today. First, one second, we had a little technical difficulty with the presentation here. There we go. So our agenda today, first, we'll review the top 3 business growth obstacles facing companies today and begin to discuss how to overcome these obstacles. Next, we'll introduce the NetSuite solution, including a review of how NetSuite enables your company to be prepared for what comes next. And finally, Steve Mochin will show us a live demonstration. For those of you who haven't met us, I'd like to introduce Terillium. We are an Oracle Platinum partner. We've been specialized in providing Oracle implementation services for over 20 years, with a focus on Oracle ERP solutions like NetSuite. We've won several awards over the course of our history. The awards that we're most proud of are the Customer Success Stories of the Year. At Terillium, we say we're only as good as our last reference, and these awards showcase that our references are some of the best in the country. Terillium is primarily based in the United States. We have consultants that live all across the United States, about 170 consultants who work directly for Terillium. These are not contractors, they are employees, a model that we think works best for our customers. And of those consultants, they combine to have over 2,000 years of experience with Oracle software implementations. Our team has overseen more than 500 ERP implementations. Okay, so let's talk about overcoming the top 3 business growth obstacles. Barrier number 1 is finding your next customer. Acquiring new customers is critical for any business that wants to scale, and retaining customers is key for steady revenue growth. The sales force needs to have information readily available at their fingertips so that they can have a snapshot of key information of potential customers and current clients. NetSuite has dramatically changed the nature of communication across organizations and with customers. NetSuite reports on all your business data from a single data repository so that you can get a 360-degree view of your customers across sales, service, transaction orders, and more, which is unachievable when you have customer data in separate systems. The second obstacle is increasing profits. And the key to business growth and success is greater transaction volumes and speed. But it's hard for many financial systems to handle this kind of pressure. Achieving full audit trails, rich business planning and reporting, or automated processes requires adding additional systems and constantly engineering short-term quick fixes. But standalone financial systems simply can't handle stronger financial controls. They can't handle better SKU management, support for more complex financial processes like recurring billing and invoicing. Running complex processes really requires more disparate systems. And coupling core finance and accounting functions in a suite with complex business processes increases close efficiency while reducing back office costs. So finance teams save time and money and can more accurately report when these functions run simultaneously in one suite. The third barrier is cash flow visibility. Access to transparent, real-time performance data to analyze and compare arms leadership with the information needed to assess strategies. The ability to take pulse of KPIs and other measurements to accurately and confidently describe how much money the company is making and likely to generate tomorrow allows companies to operate more efficiently. And Steve will show us some of those KPIs and dashboards as he starts his live demo here in just a minute. Okay, so let's talk a little bit now about how to move past these obstacles and become a next-ready business. Unfortunately, for most companies, what you see on your screen is what their systems look like. They're very fragmented, they're siloed, they're inefficient. And the result is that it's next to impossible to respond to constant change that we face in our world. You'd actually have to replace 10 to 15 systems that are monolithic, systems that have different technologies, they're not easily integrated, they're stuck on old versions from past customizations that were created by developers who no longer work here, they've been sunsetted, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of the time, it's easier not to touch anything and just add standalone new modules with no integration. It creates more workarounds and more chaos. It creates a huge mess. And lately, everyone has been talking about cloud as the magical cure-all for this. But many cloud products were not written for the cloud. The owners have just hosted them and charged for them on a cloud basis. The end result is the same as on-premise technologies: integration nightmares, version lock, etc. And the same results manifest themselves. Data is fragmented, processes sit in silos, there's multiple interfaces for the users, broken transactions, and no single version of the truth. And that is what NetSuite is designed to address. First and foremost is the philosophy. NetSuite was born in the cloud and designed to run an entire business. NetSuite is cloud first and cloud only, meaning it has all the tenets you would associate with a real cloud solution, using any device, anytime, anywhere. Customer-oriented, easy for anyone to pick up and use it without extensive training, and always up to date. Built on a single data source, the unified data model is the key to enabling true business intelligence the way companies need it today. And all of this is built on the Suite Cloud platform. NetSuite's Suite Cloud platform offers levels of personalization, customization, and development within a framework that ensures security, scalability, and globalization. And you can see from the functionality or modules listed on your screen, NetSuite is a very complete solution, from finance that you might expect like GL, AR, and AP, to things that you might not expect like cash management, payment management, advanced financial planning with what-if analysis and multi-currency support, a billing solution that helps you manage subscription billing, built-in financial reporting that's real-time, on-demand, a revenue management module that helps you manage more of the advanced revenue regulations that everyone is starting to deal with now, and global capabilities. From an operations perspective, things that you would expect like quote and order management, but then also things that go to the a little bit more advanced, things like fulfillment management, program management, promotions, within manufacturing, not only product and product data management, but also finite scheduling, work orders, even machine integration, purchasing, warehouse management that's built right in, and supply chain management like demand planning. And NetSuite even has things built in that you typically have to buy separately from a third party, things like customer relationship management that also has marketing automation built in, which is pretty unique, human capital management, including payroll, and even project management for service-based companies. NetSuite also comes with 300 BI dashboards and reports right out of the box. And I think when Steve shows you these, you'll be pretty impressed with the way that works. So we'll get to that here shortly. So the metrics you see on the screen really emphasize NetSuite's credibility as the #1 provider of Cloud ERP. And the reason we say the #1 provider is because more than 40,000 companies run NetSuite, which tells you that it is a very complete solution that is trusted by customers all over the world. And all of NetSuite's 40,000 customers are on the same release, and many have customized their NetSuite system. With NetSuite, customization isn't a dirty word, and your customizations flow to the next release of the software. This eliminates costly consulting that used to be associated with upgrades, and it allows you to stay up to date with the latest release of the software all the time. And with an implementation model called Suite Success, our customers can go live on NetSuite in just 100 days. So that concludes my portion of the webinar. Just wanted to introduce you quickly to the NetSuite solution. And now I will turn it over to my partner Steve here, Steve Mochin, a fellow Steve. And Steve is going to log into his NetSuite instance and take us through a live demonstration today. So Steve, welcome to the webinar. I know we're all excited to see the NetSuite software in action here.
Thanks, Steve. I'm excited to show it as well. Again, my name is Steve Mochin. I appreciate everyone joining us today. I'm going to give you a demo of NetSuite that's going to start with a navigation overview and then go into a quick order-to-cash process flow. So I'm logging on to NetSuite. As a reminder, it was the first complete ERP cloud solution with over 40,000 customers. The logins are role-based. So I am logging in as a CEO. So these logins or home pages or dashboards are different based on user or role. So this CEO dashboard we're going to show you to start will look different than some of the other roles for those in other areas of the business, and you'll see that. So what have we got here? We've got all the information that a CEO might want to look at on a day-to-day basis. As Steve May had mentioned, this stuff comes to you out of the box. I didn't create any of this. All I did was use what was already there provided by NetSuite to build this. In fact, even some of these roles, you can have this built for you, and it's not anything that you even have to do from scratch. It's already there. It's fantastic. So, taking a look a little closer at what are called portlets, essentially any of these boxes that you see here, I want to show you the KPI, the Key Performance Indicators box down here in the lower left. If you look, we have receivables, inventory, expenses, and income. All of those listed together. There's no BI solution behind this that adds these. This is all part of NetSuite. Often you'd have to go through an extensive project in itself just to come up with these metrics. But here again, they're at your disposal right out of the box. The CEO financials. Here we have kind of a grid or a spreadsheet looking portlet with sales, number of invoices, average deal size, profit, net profit percentage. Again, customizable to say whether I want today, this week, this month, last month, so on and so forth. We'll show you how you can quickly change some of these portlets to match what you're looking for as I go through this navigation part of the demo. Up at the top, and probably first and foremost that you saw, was the Subsidiary Navigator. This is especially beneficial to companies that have multiple divisions or in multiple countries. Again, NetSuite enables you to run your entire company off of one instance and allows you to separate by divisions or by countries or however you want to go ahead and create the subsidiaries within your business. So if right now I'm looking at all of them. Note that all of the charts and graphs that I have here on these portlets match what I selected on the Subsidiary Navigator. So if I switch this and click on just Americas, getting rid of the rest of the world data, notice everything is refreshing and populating with only data from the Americas. So I can quickly go take a look at how each of the segments or subsidiaries are performing, again, at a moment's notice. So why is this important to you? Well, you don't have to ask for different updated reports every day. You won't have to look at a big stack of reports. If I only am caring about the UK, I can click on the UK subsidiary and get information, again, immediately. No waiting for data, no digging through piles of reports to get at what I'm looking for. So maybe this isn't exactly what I want, or once upon a time this was great, now I'm looking for some additional information. There are lots of ways to go through and set up additional preferences. Not only preferences, which we'll start with some things that are set up probably at the beginning of getting NetSuite, and then you maybe won't change these, such as your language, how you want dates formatted, so on and so forth. There are quite a few, the ability of multi-currency and quite a few settings that you have at your disposal. For example, appearance. I kind of like this. The color theme I have is Big Ten Michigan State. I put it as green because it was a CEO and I kind of liked having money represented. But additional defaults and preferences are there as well, especially some alerts. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. All right, so continuing on looking at some of these additional portlets that I have here, reminders. So every day you might want to go in and check something. Hey, how's this doing? What do I have to do today? Instead of you needing to go look that all up, it's presented to you, which is great. It comes up and reminds you, hey, you've got 2 tasks to complete. Should I click on one of those reminders? It brings me into the data that was behind that reminder. So I can see at a glance, oh yeah, I was supposed to call the North American CFO. So you can see how quick that is. If I wanted to add a reminder, let's take a look at how easy it is to set up a new reminder. And you can customize these. Yes, there are lots of them that are standard, but you can customize very quickly. So I've added now, I've got a lot of invoices overdue. Okay, so if I click on invoices overdue, instead of bringing me to an application, it brings me to a report. Well, then I can go into any one of these on this report, and it's a hot link to view that transaction record. So many of the reports and things in NetSuite do have drill down capability. Pretty cool stuff. I mentioned there's lots of ways to get around in NetSuite. You know, you've got your menus up here. You won't need them. Everything will be down in a format that's presented to you without having to go dig through multi-leveled menu structures. You know how often that can be frustrating if you have a system that does that today. Here up on the top, we've got what's called a new bar. Again, you can personalize this. If I want to be able to quickly add an event or a task, now this is CEO oriented, so there's a lot of CRM activities in here. But if I want to add a sales order, so on and so forth, this is customizable again by role or by user. Let's scroll down. Look, there's even more. So you can keep adding portlets as much as you want. Over here, I've got a top 10 items by quantity sold. Yep, you can obviously drill down. Any of these that you take a look at. Now I can look at the sales behind that graph, which makes it very easy to get to the details. You don't need a bunch of different reports or a bunch of different spreadsheets. If I want to change it, the look of it, and go to a pie graph, pie chart, that's fine. Easy to do. If I want to change from last fiscal year to, let's say, last month, 2 fiscal years ago, quickly drop down, select the new graph, or the new chart, and there it is. We also have the ability to add portlets. Let's say I need a new KPI. So I'm going to hit the personalized drop-down. And there's lots and lots of things, again, available to me right out of the box. I'm going to select the KPI meter. And lo and behold, I'll close the personalized window. I get a KPI meter here, and again, there are lots of these. This one has receivables, but if I want to change it and say, okay, I want to look at expenses. Each of these portlets comes with the ability to, I'm going to say, make that data work for you. Okay, if I can download this and put it quickly into a PowerPoint. I can print the chart. If it is a graph, or a spreadsheet-looking portlet, I have the ability to export it. Easily able to port this data or this information. If I wanted to move reminders back up to the top, I just drag and drop. All of these changes I'm making are immediately saved. No programmers are involved. So when you want to say, what's in it for me, or what's in it for you as the user, you don't need to go to IT. You don't need someone to create a new report or a new KPI. You don't need to ask them, hey, can you make these changes and promote it up for me and get it into production? All of this is immediate, and obviously you don't need a lot of technical expertise to be able to do these things. If this KPI, I wanted to get rid of it because, oh, I didn't like that one, removed. Again, there are lots more quick ways to get around the screen and get around to your daily activities. There's recent records, so I can take a look at, oh yeah, what did I do earlier today? I forgot that invoice I was looking at. Well, there it is. I can easily go back to it and view it, or I can come over and I can edit. Go straight into edit mode. One of the other things I want to show you, I'm going to go click back, get all that on the subsidiary again. I told you don't need menus. Well, because there is a navigation portlet, giving me access to all of the applications or reports that I would want to use on a daily basis. There are lots of these. Sure, this one was created for the CEO, but if I scroll down, I get lots and lots and lots of these. So you can see how you can set one of these up for each role in the company. So now I've got a sales navigation portlet here. I'm going to select customers. Watch, this is going to launch in a new tab. That's an option if you would like to do that, to make sure that, hey, I want that customers tab up for a while or all the time, but I want to be able to jump back and forth between my dashboard. So I've got a list of customers here. Most ERP systems if I wanted to make changes to multiple customers, let's say, for example, I wanted to change the sales rep from Sophie King to a different sales rep. I would have to go into each of these customer records and make the change separately. I'd be making 3 record edits and saving each individually. Not in NetSuite, though. There's an edit button here. So I'm going to drag that over and activate inline editing. This is going to be something I hope that you're going to look at and smile and say, this is really neat. I've not seen this before. So now I've got sales rep, and there's a little pencil next to it. So this column is editable. That's what it says. So if I go in, and I'm going to select multiple at once. I'm going to select these 3 records for Sophie King, and I'm going to come down and change them to Steve Golden. And now when I tab out, notice all 3 records have changed and saved. How quick that is. Now think about an easy way if I want to open up my filters here and filter. If I wanted to take a look at sales rep and look for Steve Golden, so here's his 3, I could easily, if Steve leaves the company and gets replaced by a different sales rep, I could easily go in, find his customers, and update the sales reps. Yes, there are also mass change capabilities within NetSuite, but a lot of times you kind of want to take a look at stuff first and see what you're going to change before it's done. A huge, huge, in my mind, asset of NetSuite is the ability to do these inline edits. There's also a global search, which works extremely well. Now this will search all kinds of different editing entities in the system. If I type in Bob, you see I've got everything that has Bob. Opportunities, customers, contacts, vendors, so on and so forth. Well, if I want to just see customers with Bob, I can preface or do a little prefix of CUS, or for items or whatever, vendors, and it will only show me now, in this case, customers with Bob in the name. And then, of course, I can run down quickly through any of these and go a direct link to view or edit that customer. The security within NetSuite is tied to these roles. So if I don't have access to something, it's because of the role that's assigned to me. And that's all personalizable or customizable to say what you want to have access for each of the roles, or as many roles as you want. You can combine them if it makes sense for your business. With that, I want to transition into a quick process flow of order to cash. I'm going to log on here to a sales rep role. So again, I'm changing roles. This is because I have all world abilities here because I'm in a demo. But generally, you would have a different user log on as a sales rep. So you notice I've got different portlets, different color scheme. It's all based on role in this case. What I also want to mention here is we're going to do a quick order to cash. I've really simplified the order to cash for this demo. Not to say that you can't add processes and steps that fit your business. There are sales order workflows or workflows throughout NetSuite. Automating the workflow helps you fit the software to your business. If I want the order to cash process to force me to allocate inventory, to pick, pack, do shipment confirmation, I can create and have all those steps. If I want approvals or approvals specified on the amount of a sales order, I can create a workflow to do that. Those are not customizations. Those are not changes that a programmer makes. You don't need to worry about those anytime you upgrade. But again, we're going to go through a nice simple one here. I'm going to go to my new bar. That thing up here allows me to quickly add various things, and sales order being one of them since I'm a sales rep. So I'm going to click on that sales order, and it's going to go in to add a brand new sales order. One thing you'll see about the sales orders, NetSuite is a very broad solution. It has a lot of tools to configure areas of the software. You see here we've got, and we're not going to go into all these because it's just a quick demo. But you see there are items, there are pricing promotions, there's fields for billing, shipping as far as freight and other things, part of that. Activities, CRM, Steve May mentioned CRM integrated for NetSuite. And I almost want to use the term pre-integrated because it's done before you even see anything. It's part of the package. You don't need to do any integration. WMS, warehouse management. There's a warehouse management piece also that's integrated. And inspection or QA. So there are lots of pieces here to this. NetSuite is, again, very broad. Now, it may not be as deep as some packages, ERP packages go, or ERP solutions. But what that does is keep it nice and easy to use. Very simple. User adoption is fast and quick and easy. It's not complicated in any way. So I'm going to go in and type in the customer to begin my sales order. And I can just start typing customer name, and it'll pop up. Or I can go search or do a list. That also works. Again, you have multiple ways here to do that. I have this little drop-down arrows that I can go and do searches or lists as well. I'm going to choose a location here. And again, there are lots of information here. I'll go down to add an item to this sales order. And just like anything else, I can just start typing in the item until I get to a point where I see the product that I want to choose. You notice we've got we've got pricing in here. You can have different pricing by different customers. You could have taxes. The customer is in a tax code. Right now, this customer is a not taxable customer. So that's really all there is to it to create a sales order. Again, you can get more into this if you wanted to go in and change dates for requested dates, and if you have anything to do that doesn't default the way you want. There are lots of ways to make the sales order specific. And as I add this sales order, again, there's a customer PO field there that you can fill in that will populate and print on paperwork. The sales order process I've created is just a create sales order, fulfill the sales order, and invoice the sales order. So a quick 3-step process today is what I'm going to show you. And as we're waiting for the sales orders to get complete confirmed, there it is. We've got pending fulfillment. So again, this kind of tells you what's next. I don't need to go figure out, well, where is this sales order? I don't need to call anybody. And in fact, I've got it set up to be really easy. Oh, what do we got down here? I had an email come up. Here was my sales order confirmation that was emailed to me with all the pricing and everything information right on there. Pretty slick. Again, that's part of workflow. If you want emails to go out, I could also have emailed the sales rep. If they're out in the field somewhere, hey, one of your customers just placed an order. So this is pending fulfillment for the next step. I have this set up so it could be even so easy. Maybe the same person who enters the order does the fulfillment. Maybe you're a small company and you have multiple roles covered by the same person. I could fulfill right from here and make it really easy. Now, for this demo, I'm going to log on to a warehouse operations person and do the fulfillment through there, more like a standard process would be, but I just wanted to point out again how simple you can make NetSuite. Very easy to use. So I'm logging on. Again, I see a little bit different screen here, some different portlets, different reminders. Here I've got orders to fulfill. So you think about my daily process, I'm going to be on this orders to fulfill all day long. It's a reminder, hey, I got a new order. I have different filter capabilities to help me find sales orders. So I've got, here's my order, Euler Corporation. I can click on the date and actually go into the order. Or if I want, I can click on fulfill. Now you notice I've got all these boxes, check boxes out to the left. If I wanted to select multiple to fulfill at the same time, I could do that. If I wanted to put this on some sort of a output or print for the warehouse, I could do that. I did not go through a pick slip process, a picking process. Again, that was my choice. I can create those steps as well. And you can also integrate full data collection or barcoding too. So here, it's just showing me what my on hand is, or what my quantities are that I'm going to fulfill. And all it is a simple save. Yes, I could have used a scanner to do this in the warehouse instead of doing it on a desktop or a laptop or even an iPad, but still, very easy. If I wanted to change the quantity for any reason, this also gives me the opportunity to do that. I did not click save, so it does take maybe a little bit longer if you don't click save. So now, as we go to the fulfillment, this is in essence telling the customer or telling the system or the users, this order is out the door. I get a nice confirmation. It says, okay, yeah, that was done. That order is now shipped. The carrier information, there is integration to UPS and other carriers. You can handle LTL shipments. And now we've gone to the point where we're kind of pushing this over to finance. Oh, and hey, look, here's a message from Alicia Brown, the warehouse supervisor, that says, your order has been fulfilled. So you kind of think this is a lot like Amazon, right? Get an order when email when I place the order, get an order when it's shipped, or email when it's the order shipped. Very slick. I'm going to hop over now to a different role. I'm going to go to controller and do the invoicing. And again, this is very similar to the other steps. What have we got here, though? We've got a new release portlet. It didn't show on the other two roles because I had already removed it. But here is an example of what you see when NetSuite introduces or tells you about a new release that's upcoming. Now this one says it was -6 days away, so it's already been pushed out. but they give you plenty of notice to say, new release is coming, take a look and learn more about all the different enhancements to the software. Gives you plenty of time to take advantage of new functionality. Very interesting. So here, going back to our order to cash, I've got, I don't want invoices overdue. Back. It's not an overdue invoice, so I want to go to sales orders to invoice. And it's going to bring up a list of all those sales orders ready to invoice. Now, again, I'm going to do an invoice of one order here, but the way that you can look at this is you could schedule this. You could schedule this to say, hey, I want to invoice as part of an end-of-day routine. So I can schedule everything ready to be invoiced. Go ahead and do that at 4 p.m. every day. Or maybe I want to do it at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. It's up to you. But in this case, again, I'm just going to do invoicing of one particular order. The Euler Corporation sales order that we've been working on. You notice, again, getting to different transactions and different ways to link to customers, to invoices, to orders, it's all well ingrained. Again, if I wanted to, I'm in the invoice, but if I want to jump to the sales order, there's a hot link right there for that. Nothing more than a save here. And again, you could run this on a scheduler in kind of a behind-the-scenes process, and nobody needs to have human interaction to invoice the order. I'm just doing this here so you can kind of walk through the steps of a nice, quick order-to-invoice process flow. Note that, again, we've got terms of net 30, and it will take all that into account. So, confirmation. I've now invoiced that order. Let's go back to the CEO role. If you recall, we had a financials portlet for the CEO. And it showed for today's sales to be $65. Now, this data will automatically refresh when you log on. Now, I've just been switching roles, so it did not automatically refresh, but there is a refresh icon here. So no, it says now it says $65 for today. When I click the refresh, take a look what happens. It's now $195, so it's included that new order that we just shipped and invoiced. If I click on the link, here's our Euler Corporation sales order. And oh yeah, I can jump directly in from this little report directly into the customer record. All right? Pretty easy to jump around and take a look at all of the information on one click. That's what you get out of this. You don't need to go around and go back to your home page and do all that. A lot of you can do from within the screen you're on. Okay, there's again lots more information here if you wanted to take a look at. Relationships, financials, system information. Okay. If I wanted to take a look, I could go take a look at the sales orders here too. Look at that sales order that I just did. This is really important because Steve mentioned your Customer 360. You take a look at all the things that you can see here quickly, all in one place. So I hope you've gotten an idea on how well integrated and how simple NetSuite is to use. that's all I've got for the demo right now. And I hope that piqued your interest in knowing more about NetSuite. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. May for a few final words. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Other Steve. Nice job with the demo. So at this time, I'd like to remind everyone, if you have any questions about what Steve showed you or what I covered, just type your question into your go-to webinar pane, and we'd be happy to answer those. One question we do have, Steve, I think I know this one, but it's more your area, so you take a shot, and if not, I think I have the answer. Is there a way to accept data from our eBay and Amazon sales?
Yes. Yeah, there's ways to integrate that and either load it directly into NetSuite as a sales order and process it through NetSuite, and then send that information back to eBay or Amazon. Absolutely.
Yeah, and NetSuite's interesting in that it has e-commerce built into it. So it has all the tools that you need to build an e-commerce web storefront. Your customers can look at your catalog, determine if inventory is available, place orders in a shopping cart, check out, pay with a credit card. But we have a number of customers that some do that and have an Amazon presence, and some only have an Amazon presence. But like Steve said, we integrate that information from Amazon or eBay or wherever you're selling it back into NetSuite as a sales order most of the time. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Good question. Okay, one more. What if the internet goes down? And that actually is a question we get a lot. And so, NetSuite guarantees the uptime when you use their application. So their guarantee is 99.95% uptime with NetSuite, which is extremely high. And in fact, there's a website you can go to. Let's see if I remember the name of it. It's status.netsuite.com. And it actually reports on how NetSuite's tracking against that metric. And for the last year, today it shows NetSuite has 99.99 average uptime over 211 billion transactions that have been run on NetSuite for the last year. So their uptime is guaranteed, and it's very high. And I think we have one more, but oh, here we go. Is Edi supported? Steve, you want to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I neglected to mention that. The full, your typical transactions and EDI formats are all supported. I should have really mentioned it specifically when I was doing the invoicing of that sales order we did. You can take that invoice and print it. You can email it. You can send it via EDI, and EDI again is supported throughout NetSuite.
What sort of bandwidth is needed to run per user? To the person who asked that question, I'm going to have to get you the exact number and get back to you, but I want to say it's like 56 kilobits per second. It's very low in terms of bandwidth, but I will save your name and question, and I will email you the exact bandwidth requirement. It's really low, though. Can you take other electronic orders, like from a CSV and an XML file?
Absolutely. Similar to what would be done with Amazon, you're basically taking any kind of a data that you can format or you can, electronically transfer, can go directly into NetSuite and create sales orders or inventory transactions or receipts, so on and so forth. So whatever format you have can be integrated.
Sorry, a second part to a question I asked earlier. Is this software aimed at small to medium businesses? I would say that that's accurate. It certainly has, of the 40,000 customers globally, they're very, very small. 1-2 user businesses. There are very large corporations running NetSuite, but most of the NetSuite customers that we see would be categorized as kind of that small to medium-sized business. So that is correct. Is there integration with shipping systems, like for eBay and Amazon?
Yep.
So built-in integration to UPS and FedEx and.
Right. So that question itself could be broad. To start with the most specific, yes, it does come with out-of-the-box integration to some carriers like UPS, and then from there you have a WMS that's, again, I like to use that pre-integrated. That's part of NetSuite, or if you had a WMS or transportation solution already and you wanted to kind of interface that or have it handle transactions to and from NetSuite, that's also possible.
And I think that's all of the questions that we have. Maybe backwards, sorry, Steve. If you have any others, feel free to send them to me. And I may or may not know the answer, but I'll get to the right person who does and get an answer back to you. I owe one about the bandwidth requirements, which I'll start working on. But if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Hope that the webinar was informative for everybody and a good use of time, and we certainly appreciate you taking an hour from your day to find out more about NetSuite. So thank you, everyone.